All right. Good morning. It is me, Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, and it is time for your morning mental workout. Go ahead on your own and inhale and exhale 3 times. All right. Today is number 502 for me. This is an awesome day to be here. We're going to have a good time today. Let's get this party started. You will need note-taking materials, physical or digital. You will also need a second device so that you can go to the Turnaround Doctor. Got hand sanitizer on my hand. TurnaroundDoctor.com. You're going to go to the tab, the 74 Principles of Real Leadership. We're also going to read from Letters of Louise this morning. Let's get this party started. First thing I'd like to do is review how we got to this point, or how do we get to neuropability. Step 1, neurogenesis. What is it? You create new neurons up in your brain. And there's a myriad of ways to get it done. Over here, we challenge ourselves, we learn new skills, and we make sure that those new neurons that are being created are in an environment that is enriched. Now, the thing about neurogenesis is that it cannot survive in environments that are toxic, stressful, and fearful. And that environment exists where? Over there in Loserville with the unaccountable people. So you can sit here this morning and think, ooh, neurogenesis, neurogenesis, neurogenesis. But if you go back over to Loserville, ain't no more neurogenesis. Ain't nothing new about that toxic, stressful, fearful, and anything that you take in over here is going to disappear as soon as you cross that little line to get back over to Loserville. So it can't survive over there. You have to make the decision. Neurogenesis is going to work. You're going to have to hold yourself personally accountable. Next is neuroplasticity, and that's the brain's ability to wire itself to create new neural pathways. So you put that together with personal accountability, and what do you have? You have neuropability, and that's the brain's ability to wire itself to be personally accountable using the 74 principles of real leadership to create unlimited neural pathways to personal accountability. Now, how is all this done? It's done in the executive function of your brain, because that is the CEO of your brain. It is responsible for your day-to-day activities, your decision-making, problem-solving, thinking, learning, growing, development. It's all happening there. So you are the CEO of what? Me Incorporated. You use the CEO of your brain, which is the executive function of your brain, and you gonna be a bad mofo too. Okay, today, principle of real leadership that we are reviewing. If you scroll down, we are in the effective section of real leaders. And it is number 3, be a thermostat. Good morning. Be a thermostat and not a thermometer. Be a thermostat and not a thermometer. The first time I heard this, I was attending church service way back in like 2005 at the 8 o'clock service, because I had to work Sunday through. Okay, great. Sunday through Thursday, and so I had to go to the 8 o'clock service, drop Nola off, and then go to work, 10 to whatever. It's a long Sunday for 10 months. It was 10 months. I had to be there by 12 o'clock. No, by 10. Anyway, I digress. The point is, the sermon for that day was, be a thermostat and not a thermometer. You want to set the temperature. You don't take the temperature and go sit. Okay. And no, this is not going to be religious, but that's how I heard it. And then 4 years later, it ended up in my book as one of the 74 principles of real leadership, because it is just that valuable. Okay, so instead of doing how to be a thermostat, not a thermometer, didn't need to look all those words up. The 2 words that we're going to focus on today is thermostat and thermometer. So what is the definition of a thermostat? Nola, I'm glad you asked. A thermostat is a device that detects temperatures and automatically regulates the temperature to maintain that temperature. A device that detects temperatures and automatically regulates the temperature to maintain that temperature. Now, I had to take 2 different definitions of the thermostat in order to get to the definition that made sense for the principles of real leadership. So for a third time, just to make sure that you have it in your notes, a device that detects temperatures and automatically regulates the temperature to maintain that temperature. Now, on the other side of that is a thermometer. And a thermometer is an instrument that measures temperature. A thermometer is an instrument that measures temperature. So I have a digital thermometer right here. We're going to let it clear. Hopefully this works. Okay. Okay, so my temperature is 97. All right, so we see how long, good morning, Regina. We see how long that took in order for me to set the temperature. So it is in order for me to take my temperature. It is an instrument that measures the temperature. Now, if because the thermostat is on the wall, now I'm going to take it off the wall to show you, but you can go literally up to the thermostat, boom, set the temperature. And if you have a digital one, then it's going to automatically regulate itself. We still have an old school one in our house, so we literally have to manually adjust it. So that is the difference. A thermostat regulates the temperature. It's like, oh, it's too hot. Whew, I gotta cool it down. Let's make sure that this cools down. And it stays at that temperature that you set it at. Whereas a thermometer is just saying, it's 97, Dr. Don, your temperature is 97. And that's it. So let's look at it from this perspective. And that flipping the bird was to that person that needed to be removed from the live for their vulgarity. Because there's always an ignorant ass, unaccountable, perverted ass man in the midst that just needs to do dumb shit. So I couldn't talk at that point. That's why they got flipped off. You got a problem with me flipping it off, you can leave too, because that was just beyond disrespectful. But that's what vulgar perverts do. Okay, moving on. So the thermostat and the thermometer. Think of it this way, and this hit me this morning. You know what? Hold up, ladies and gentlemen. Because I'm gonna address this shit this morning, and if this offends anybody, let's blame Will's X18. I was assaulted for 4 years by my stepfather, who walked around the house with no pants on. I now call him Winnie the Pooh, because he decided that once I got 18, 19, it was a good idea. And so when things like this show up for me, it used to make me go, oh my goodness, I'm so uncomfortable. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? And what I know to be true now is that it happened to you. And so this is your way of taking control. You're going to make sure that it doesn't happen to you again. And so you're going to make other people feel what you felt. And so instead of dealing with your own trauma and your own essays, you decided you're going to become a predator yourself. But that dog don't hunt over here, because I know if you saw me in person, the last thing you would do is say something like that to me, because you'd find yourself in some type of chokehold of some sort that you would not be able to get out of. That's what would actually take place. So I'm removing these people from this environment, number one, because it's extremely unaccountable. But again, because of aesthetics, you think I'm some weak, docile woman that's going to be who I was when I was 19, but that's not going to happen, because the Army and life has taught me a lot. And you're doing this because of your hijacked amygdala, and because you are a pervert and you actually need to go work out some stuff. So you actually need counseling. You actually need therapy, because you think that it's impacting me, but it's not. It's actually showing the world who you actually are. And so that's what perverts do. Oh, I'm going to make you uncomfortable. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're absolutely not going to stop what's happening in your head neurologically. And so I know I let a lot of things go and I just move on, but I'm not letting that happen today. I'm a thermostat, so I'm going to set the temperature on my live in what it needs to be. And this whole notion that I'm going to essay you because I can, I'm going to overpower you because you're some weak, docile woman. I will fuck your world up, you and your offspring. Don't let this 123 pounds fool you. It won't end well at all. And I'm leaving this on here so for the replay. So this whole vulgarity and this perversion thing that you think that you're doing, because I'm gonna do this. Okay. It's not working. So I would suggest anybody else going forward that that's not the move. That's not the answer. It's annoying at this point. 30 years ago, I'm like, oh my God. Nah, I've been here too long, too many days, been through two and grown through too many things for this to impact me. I wish I was a thermometer. It's just, and it's whack ass lines too. Like, you really ain't getting no dates. You're not really, you got to pay for it if that's your line. You really do, because that's a whack ass line to begin with. I know they got some classes for y'all to even get better. So this whole notion of, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm a disinhibition effect. Take your weak ass to therapy and then go and find a modern day hitch and get some better pickup lines. And then you won't have to pay for it no more. All right, let me remove your dumbass from my live. And back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, so what came to me this morning is this. A thermostat is a leader and a thermometer is a follower. A thermostat is a leader and a thermometer is a follower. And if you look at that, you will see that the thermostat is running stuff, making sure everything is regulated in, and I'll get into it. But a thermostat is a leader, and all this does is take the temperature. That's it. It has one function. Takes the temperature. Nothing else. Nothing fancy. I don't care if you get the one that you can look at the wrist. You do that. The old school one that had the mercury in it that we used to have to wait forever. And if the mercury broke, clear the house out, clear the school out. Yes. So it has one function. So which one do people choose? People choose, unaccountable people choose a thermometer. I mean, yes, they choose a thermometer. Now, why would they do that? Because it's passive. All I have to do currently, push the button, start, take the temperature, done. I'm either sick or I'm not sick, right? And it has one function, as I mentioned. That's all it does. I mean, if you get desperate, you might be able to stir some coffee or something at times, get tight, but that's it. It has one function. What you do? I take the temperature. And then what? I tell you what it is. That's it. Nothing else. It doesn't need to think at all. If you have the old school when it goes past, I think they used to be at 106 or something like that. And if it went past that, call the ambulance because you about to die. Okay, you got to get that body temperature down quick. But in this instance, it just goes up. I've never been over 101, so I don't even know how high these digital ones come. And literally got this from the Dollar Tree when it was still $1. So you can get them. You don't even have to pay a lot for them. We had a digital one from Nola's childhood for a very, very long time, and then it just finally wore out. So it doesn't need to think. It doesn't have to say, I wonder how I'm going to function today. The functionality is already in it, and it doesn't need to take any action. You just push the button, and that's it. And the thing about it is it's used infrequently. So think about it. I've taken my temperature. I am going to rinse this off, but for packaging purposes of this, I am going to, and I'm a germaphobe, so that's why. So, and we both have separate ones. So Nola and I don't even use the same thermometer. No, we used to have one for the whole house. We're not doing that. So anyway, and then I just put it right back in the box, and I'm going to close it back up. That's why the box is still here. And then I'm going to put it back in my medicine cabinet. So it's used infrequently, stored in a cabinet or a drawer, kitchen cabinet downstairs. And guess what happens? This can't be seen daily. So in review, a thermometer is passive as hell. It has one function. It doesn't need to think, doesn't need to take any action, is used infrequently, stored in a cabinet, and can't be seen daily. Follower. Thermostat, on the other hand, is used throughout the day. There's only a small amount of time in the fall and a little bit in the spring when you're not using your thermostat. That's it, unless you live like someplace in Alaska, and then it's not going to matter. But there is a small window, probably 2 weeks for us in Las Vegas, maybe 3, where we don't really need to use a thermostat one way or the other. It's used throughout the day, multiple times a day. For most of us, it's winter right now. So that thermostat is kicking on at whatever temperature you have it. We keep our heat at 68 or 70, and we keep our air, it's hot. We'll turn it down to about 74, but when we're not home, it's at 80 just because, Nevada Energy ain't getting us like that. But it's set at a temperature, and it has to work 7 days a week, 365 days, 366 days out the year. That thermostat is working. It is definitely working every day. And if depending on where it's used, if it's in a business or a home, some people have 2 thermostats if they have multi-level homes, but it is visible and being used. And it has multiple functions. The new thermostats tell you the time, tell you the temperature inside and outside. It tells you if it's going to be on auto, if it's going to use the fan, if the battery needs to be replaced. So it's got multiple functions now, and it needs a power source. So this thing don't need a power source. It's solar, and that's it. But you have to be wired in. One of our clients, the one that had the most recent Airbnb where I cut my thumb, literally she didn't know that the thermostat wasn't working, so she had to call the electrician in. He had to do a bunch of rewiring things because she just changes everything to digital because the houses that she buys are older, but changes everything to digital. And he had to go do some rewiring and everything else because it needs to be connected to a power source. Not only that, but it's in plain sight. You walk into a house downstairs, it's usually located in a hallway, entryway. Upstairs is usually by the stairs. Sometimes if your house is big enough, it's in the primary next to the alarm system. And so you can see it. I can't see this. This is in my top shelf in my bathroom. I'm grabbing stuff off the bottom two shelves, and it's actually behind my blood pressure thing. So I really don't use this, and I really don't see it. But the thermostat is in plain sight. It's connected to the AC and the furnace. So it's regulating two different things. It's determining how hot you're going to be or how cold you're going to be. And it's sitting in 1 to 2 sources, possibly 3 sources. We know people who have 3 units at their houses. And so now you have this one controls this one. And it's connected to the power source and to the AC and to the furnace. And it needs to be repaired. And it needs to run everything. So it is so much more high functioning, and that's what makes it a leader because it's responsible. Let the AC go out. You're going to in the summer, you're going to be mad as hell. Let the heat go out in the winter and you're going to be mad as hell, right? So the leader has to be responsible for everything. It's connected to so many things and it's a power source and it runs so many different things. Whereas this is just saying, hey doc, you 97 today. Okay, thank you. And because of this severe anemia, I run between 97. I'm rarely 98.6, so I'm not shocked by that. No, I don't need medical attention. He's like, oh my goodness, Dr. Johnny, you okay? That's usually how it goes. So that's the major difference. So now you can understand why people are sitting their lazy asses in their comfort zone because you ain't got to do shit. You got one function. You literally have one function. That's it. You take the temperature. And you don't even do nothing with it. You're just like, it's 97. It's 102. I told you had a fever. You good. Go to work. Done. And then the thermostat is over here controlling everything. You come to Las Vegas, every hotel room, every place has a doggone thermostat for you. We have never been to an appointment and been like, you know what, ain't a thermostat in here. Now, if we're outside, but they're everywhere. They're in the grocery store. They're everywhere. Everywhere you go, there is a thermostat. I mean, yes, a thermostat, but there might not be a thermometer. Everybody don't have a first aid kit at their house or in their car. So you don't even have to have one. And guess what? You only technically need one in the whole household because even if everybody's sick at the same time, you take temperature, put some alcohol on it and give it to the next person if you so desire to do that. So what questions do you have before I talk about how to make the transition? What questions do you have about the definition of a thermostat or the thermometer and why people choose to be a thermometer versus a thermostat? Yes. And our AC broke when I was in Florida. We've had ACs go out. I mean, they go out because they run. And especially if your system is old, as ours is, you will find that. You need that. And now does it make sense to you that I've expanded upon it, that it because when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, you understand it, but now really seeing how unaccountable people are thermometers. They really are like freaking useless. They 100. It's like, have you ever just been interacting with them and they just like, well, the temperature, I told you, your temperature is 97. And you're like, good morning, Lola. You're like, I need you to do more and tell me what my temperature is. Oh, never mind. You just have to go off and do it yourself. Okay, so how do you make the transition from thermostat to thermometer? It's very simple. You hold yourself personally accountable and you become a leader. It's simple, but not easy. And they say, I don't know. Yes. Woo. And you just finished my book, Regina. I don't know is never the answer. That definitely is not. You cannot say I don't know. Yeah, Colonel Kendrick. Yep. Okay. All right. Hold yourself personally accountable and become a real leader. And then leave the comfort of your medicine cabinet or your drawer and be visible and useful on the daily basis. Be visible and useful on the daily basis. Now, this is simple. This is so simple to be. You just get to be this. And you don't have no one's expecting anything from a thermometer. Nobody's like, where's the, you gotta, it's just like, hey, I'm sick. I gotta, I'm gonna go to the hospital. That's it. And it gets to be hidden, and it does. No one has an expectation for a thermometer. You go to the doctor's office, boop. That's it. You're in the hospital, boop. You're done. No expectations. Nobody's yelling at the thermometer like, oh my God, you got a fever. We gotta go. And now you're that. Oh, I'm good. No fever. I'm good to go. Let me go back to sleep. Take a nap. Get some rest. Hydrate. And that's the issue. Because we got a bunch of fucking thermometers. But guess what they do? They actually are causing all of the problems that the thermostat has to fix. They are the root cause. We just had 2 unaccountable people on the live at this morning saying vulgar, perverted things to me just because they think I can't see them. So they're just going to say some dumb shit. So disrupting a very learned environment. I have a brain t-shirt on with brains behind me. And the first thought on their mind is something that they believe was acceptable to say, causing problems. Now I have to decide. I got to change the temperature back to where we were when I said take in 3 breaths, cleansing breaths in and out. So now I got to make a temperature adjustment because of these unaccountable motherfuckers. So they don't want to do nothing. They don't even do the same thing. So they're taking the temperature of you, but not paying attention to the temperature in the environment. They're not at all. So they're just like, yep, you got a fever. Nope, you don't. Let me go blow some shit up. Let me make this problem. Let me create a shit show. Let me make it hot as hell in here or cold as hell in here. Let me do that. They're really phenomenal at that. And then to sit there and not know how to adjust the temperature. They have no idea how to change it back to where it's 72, 76, 68, because you're supposed to sleep with 10 degrees cooler than when you wake up so you can have better sleep. Causing all kind of temperature changes. And then sitting back going, well, I don't really know how to adjust the temperature because this is what I do. I just got one thing I do. I know you don't have a fever. So that's what I can tell you. Constantly causing you to make adjustments all day long. Make adjustments for their asses. And I'm saying no. I'm saying turn the motherfucking heat up. Motherfuckers say I'm cold. And when I used to date, and I think I've told this story, we had a 3-level townhouse. And we've always been conservative. I learned that from my aunt when I had to live with them for 4 months. My mother was in drug rehab. And people would come to my house, especially gentlemen, and they would say, it's cold in here. Mm-hmm. It is. Did you not bring a jacket? It's cold. Well, I'm saying it's cold. Okay. And when I was in the Army, I went and got the bill one day. I said, well, here it is. Pay it. We can put whatever you want the temperature to be. Go ahead. Pay it. And we can make this bad boy be up or down. But if it's hot or cold, bring some water or bring a jacket. That's what you can do. It's cold over our house. It sure is. It sure is. Definitely. So the point is, unaccountable people have you doing this all day long, or up and down if you got the digital one. Up and down, up and down, up and down, while they sit here doing this. And so today's the day. If you were looking for a sign, the sign is here today. Why are you thermostating their environment? Why are you making adjustments for them as they sit there and do nothing? As they sit there and do absolutely nothing. You need to make it uncomfortable for them. If they like it cool, turn the heat up. And if they like it hot, turn the heat down. Just do. They need to be uncomfortable because they need to start becoming their own thermostat. They need to adjust their own environment. So do not let them come into your environment where the temperature is perfectly set for you. And now here they come disrupting it, hot or cold, one way or the other, and then act like, well, I don't really know how to adjust the temperature. Now, yes, you do. It's called daily personal accountability. It's called neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, and neuropability. Yes, you actually can make these adjustments neurologically yourself because that's where it's actually happening. So this whole little come on brain, think of things, this isn't a working memory. Once you learn how to do this, you're done. So no new skill sets, nothing. This is what they know how to do. And that's it. And then they want to brag about it. So how many temperatures did you take? I took 10 temperatures today. There were 2 of them was 102 and 3 of them was 107. And they're bragging about this one little stupid ass thing that they know how to do. Posting it on social media. Look at all these temperatures I took. Today, I had 26 temperatures to take. Woo, I'm tired. I'm going to go home and binge watch. You know what I'm saying? Get some bonbons. I'm going to be Netflix and chill. From the same ass task. Day in and day out. Ain't did nothing. Regina, you just said you had to have maintenance. Maintenance comes at a cost. Even if you get into one of those programs where they check the furnace and check the AC, you still got to pay an annual fee for that. You can discard this. This thing don't work, or throw it in the trash. Go pay $1.25 and get another one. Point blank, period. The cost is now that low. But the cost for it, if you got to repair a whole AC unit or a furnace, you're talking a lot of doggone money. And that thermostat has to be able to control these things that are extremely expensive and matter day in and day out across the entire world. And that's why unaccountable people don't want to make the transition from this to that. But they're the reason why we got to keep making transitions. They overworking. You overprocess the system, you overuse, it's going to cause it to be a doggone problem. And they are the reason why shit got to get repaired. They didn't do the maintenance, ain't changing the filters on time and not getting the maintenance done. And now you got a $10,000 problem because of these motherfuckers. But here they go with their one little thing that they know how to do. So in summary, leaders are thermostats. Followers are thermometers. Leaders are real leaders and we thermostats, and unaccountable people are thermometers, causing all kind of problems. We know how to control the temperature and keep it where it needs to be so that the environment is where it needs to be for us to function day in and day out. And here they come talking about it's cold. You got to can turn the heat on. Hey, it's hot. You can't have some water and can turn the AC on. No, I cannot. Do not make adjustments for them. You can make it more uncomfortable for them. Make it extremely uncomfortable for them so they don't want to be over here, because as I mentioned yesterday, they need a host. They need us. We don't need them. So the 2 perverts that started on the live this morning are looking for a dopamine and an adrenaline boost. So let me go do some perv shit. Ha 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 ha. No, I don't think so. Because what they wasn't expecting was to get cussed out and flipped off. That was not happening. Because now that's not. It's like, oh my God, you said no. Not at all. Okay. So what questions do you have about anything that I have reviewed before we move on to the cognitive activities for this morning? Whew. And I'm having my own little temperature change right now. Thank you, perimenopause. Hot flash, hot flash. Okay. Go ahead and go to social media tab. You're going to do letters from Louise. And then Regina, you didn't follow back up. Were you ever able to read just yesterday? So today you're going to go. The comparisons were clear. Thank you. Okay. Letters from Louise. You're going to go to I. Really? I don't understand what's happening. Okay. I will send you the link to them. Let me see if you can get it today. If not, I will send you the link to Just and No. I'm looking at yours, Just and I. So today you're doing letters from Louise. And it's going to be quick. So letters from Louise, go ahead and let me know when you're there. Let me turn this fan on. And the spring is such a weird time because some days you need the heat on, some days you need less heat. So I never know what pajamas to put on, what pants. I'm changing clothes 3 times a day. It's like it's got its own little brain. You have them both now. Okay, great. So you can read I first and then go back to Just, because I is very quick. So it was a glitch. Got it. It happens. Sometimes I can't even see my own stuff, and I'll be logged into my account. I'm like, I wrote it. It's my stuff. Why can't I see it? So it just is what it is. So read I. I'm looking for it now. It's I. Is that your response, Nola, to looking for the poem I, or that's your response for having read the poem? Yes, a declaration. Of presence and existence. Right, in the moment, I am. And the one thing that when I was writing, because somebody on Threads asked, are you a poet? And okay, got it. And they said, are you a poet? And I said, yes. And I told them about my experience with Vogue and how she taught me about poetry. And I've written 28 poems and need to get back in there to write some more. Kevin says, I am better at being me than being anyone else. Yes, Nola, I have read it now. It reminds me of the Bible, like I am the great I am. Yes. And when I wrote it, I had used a bunch of words that started with I, and nothing resonated with me. So I get this feeling when I'm like, that's the correct word. Okay, do it. And I left it simple. And it's just 3 words. I am me. Very simple. When you think of I, people think of I and they say, you're so selfish. You're always talking about I, myself, and all of that. So some people have an adversarial relationship with the letter, with the word I, because it is a letter, but it's I was told by somebody, a colleague of mine, they in theory, read my whole book and said, I noticed you use a lot of I's in the book, and you didn't accomplish all that stuff without God. So you didn't mention God in the book. It's book ball. It's a real leadership. So translation, you did a bunch of shit that I didn't know that you did. And so I don't like how that makes me feel. So I'm gonna make you feel bad and say you shouldn't use personal your personal experience to develop your leadership philosophy for your thing. So yeah, that person did not like my use of I in my book about the things that I did. Go figure. So people definitely have they have a feeling about it, and that's why I kept it simple and said I am me. So if you read that, then you have to interpret it however you see fit in your interpretation with it. Okay. Following up, yesterday was go for the gold. Go for the gold. What did you do to go for the gold? And you had 2 options: update your current go for the gold, or develop a strategy for your new go for the gold. And while you're typing, my goal for the gold was, I've been getting notifications on TikTok that people were following me on Lemonade. I don't even know how, but they were. So I set up my Lemonade account because, as we know, my Facebook account was hacked, and they wanted me to send in all this personal information to get it back, videos and IDs and all that. And I said, fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg, you already got the shit anyway. But I'm not voluntarily giving you that information. So that account will, I think I have about 2 more months before it's totally officially done, but I'm done with it, have been done with it since I think October 23rd is when the compromise took place. And so as a result, I've been looking for a replacement. I won't say replacement because it's Facebook, but a new platform to put other material, that other content that I was putting on Facebook. So I set up my Lemonade account yesterday, did some looking around. Don't know exactly if I'm just gonna put everything that I put everywhere else, if I'm gonna use it for a different purpose, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, Nola said, developed a strategy to contact 10 transfer portal athletes per day. Yes, ma'am, you did. And Kevin, did they have a transfer portal when you were playing football? Did they call it something else? Because now they call it early enrollees. They used to call it mid-years. People who got there early. Well, in the January session. Some people call that spring session. Some colleges call it spring. Some people call it winter. I purchased an ice cream machine. Ooh. I used to love me some ice cream. I got the feelings to prove it. So I can not give my money to my business neighbor and make money at the same time. Got it. Yes. That would be terrible. I would have no teeth if I had a... Actually, I'm lactose intolerant now, so I can't eat it. But I ate enough when I could. I used to eat a half a gallon of Breyer's ice cream when I was in the Army. That's why I was big swole. I used to eat a half a gallon of Breyer's ice cream in 2 days. And I would take those slice and bake cookies when I got home and bake those, make them gooey, sit them on top so they melt, and put some magic shell on top of it in a big old giant bowl. So I have the chocolate chip cookies with the Breyer's butter pecan and the Heath magic shell. Whoo! I mean, I probably been a diabetic coma if I had stayed in the military. But I had to keep my weight up because if I needed to go get somebody, I was about 147 back then, 147, 148. They almost needed to tape me as big as I was. Regina, my goal was finishing healthcare plan that I have been avoiding taking care of. Yes, and my mouth is over here watering. No portal, just transfer to another school. Got it. Thank you for that update. A lot of things have changed since you were there. These players get everything now, especially if you go to a Power 5 school. It's unbelievable. All right. So the Real Leader principle for today is to be a thermostat, not a thermometer. So what you're going to do today is you're going to set your temperature and you're going to keep it at whatever temperature that is for you today. And as unaccountable people come and try to get you to raise it or lower it, you are going to keep your temperature at what it needs to be. So the unaccountable perverts that showed up at the live kept my temperature. Woohoo! Lola got her T-Mobile discount. Hey. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Go ahead with that. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome. Congratulations. Ain't nothing like a discount. I tell you, I love a discount. Definitely. Well, I will wait for a price to go down. I have this thing on my floor for my desk. I want it because it's carpet upstairs. So the plastic things that you put on there, and it's circular because I didn't want the square one because I have an L-shaped desk. And I waited for that thing to go down $5 more. It took me 4 months. But I said, no, they want too much for that. I will wait. That price is going to go down. And it did, and we ordered it. So that is awesome. 100% awesome. So you're going to set your temperature today at whatever temperature you want it to be at, and you are going to leave it there. And if you have to remove some unaccountable people to ensure you stay at 72, 75, whatever it is, that's what you have to do. But do not adjust your temperature for the day for the unaccountable person. So if you decided you were going to have peace today, you set your temperature to peace, and here comes some unaccountable person trying to disrupt it. Talk to the hand. Remember that back in the day? Talk to the hand. I'm not participating in it at all. Not in the least bit. We are not having that at all. Be a thermostat. Don't be a thermometer. Okay? Because all you're going to do is take temperature and then take your dumbass and go back and sit down somewhere. All right, finally, what did you learn today? Pour la oil. What did you learn? No, it's itching. Allergy season. I have rinsed and spritzed and sprayed, but I am about to take my shower, so hopefully. I'm finishing early today because it's simple. Thermostat, thermometer. Ain't a lot going on. Tomorrow should be simple too. It's Friday. I thought it was Saturday. How did I miss a day? To be visible and useful on a daily basis. That's good. I don't want to be a thermometer. Being a thermostat is empowering and healthy. Yes, it is. It definitely is. Because the thermometers just sit there and complain and don't do absolutely anything. So what I'm noticing on Threads is that this has happened 2 days in a row. So if it happens today, it'll be a trend. So yesterday, someone asked the question, and I only respond to the people who are asking questions. I'm not bombarding people with real leadership. So the question was, what do you do if you get bad news in the morning? What do you do with the rest of your day? So I responded with, I assess what's taking place. I then use my rational brain to develop a strategy, solve whatever I can for that, and I move on with the rest of my day. And so the person came back and said, well, what if it's something out of your control? Laugh out loud. And I responded with, why would I be impacted by something bad that I can't control? That makes no sense. So the person comes back and says, because we're human, we're not AI. So what I garnered from that, because I took all my responses away and blocked that person because clearly they're an idiot. So what has happened, and the same thing happened before, the day before, I answered the question with my real leader answer. It wasn't a victim answer. They then changed the parameters of the original question. I said, that wasn't your original question. My answer remains the same. And then they kept, I'm like, I don't have time for this. So what is important is, and Kevin, you looked up the definition of, the word escapes me, but you looked up the definition of just yesterday. And we also have a client. We helped her. She's been teaching for 30 years. She teaches first grade. The other day, we helped her clear out her storage unit because she has 30 years worth of, as you know, Regina, of schools because she's still teaching. So she was going through it, and we asked her what the difference is with this new group of kids, and she said they don't have a good attention span. She'll be reading, and they'll be responding, yelling at her based upon what she's reading in the book. She donated a lot of books because she said they just don't have the comprehension for it. And then yesterday with the adults, Nola said those are the parents of the kids that she was talking about. So what the person was trying to actually say was, if something happens bad in the world, what is your response? And they really meant to ask me if I had empathy, but their brain, because of their limited lexicon, couldn't do that. And their reading comprehension, because the reading comprehension went from 9th grade to 6th grade, people don't understand what they're reading. The question was, if you get bad news, what does it do for the rest of your day? Do you let that impact the rest of your day? I said no, because I'm a thermostat, not a thermometer. Basically what my mindset was. But because of confirmation bias and conformity bias, and I went back and looked at his response to everybody else's who fed into it. It was like, I'll be mad, I curse, and I do this, and the world is in shambles, and all this shit. And I'm like, that's not my reality. I don't feel that way. So this whole notion of this is how you have to be and feel, and I felt that my entire life because I don't think like everybody else. I'm like, this is insane. And so I will continue to keep responding differently. Some people are receptive, as Regina alluded to. And she said, currently the people who are participating are self-directed and self-guided, and they want to have this change. And I've said to the point where you're stuck and you're in a rut and you're like, I got to get out of this. I need to do something different. Early adopters. But the people who are basically thermometers are stuck in their stuckmalies with their sins, and they want me to change my answer. I'm like, my answer is my answer. But that's what happens. You are the thermostat, and now everybody's trying to tell you change your temperature, change your temperature, change your temperature. I'm like, I'm not changing my temperature. I'm the one that's correct. So I'm not going to do that. And what you will find is that the more you become a thermostat, the more people will be trying to make you change your temperature, and that I am me. I'm not changing because I understand everything that you're doing is neurological. Even if you don't, I understand between the biases and dopamine, manufactured dopamine and adrenaline. I know why the two perverts came to my live this morning, but I'm still not participating in it. I'm not coming down and saying, are you okay? I know you was abused. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not doing that, because we all have brains. We all have the ability to create neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, which ends up with neuropability, but I'm not participating. So it was interesting to me to understand, because I asked her, I said, well, are the parents reading to the children? What's happening? Because the tablets are actually causing the problems, and they're literally, because we also have another client who works with children with autism and the speech impediment. There are more children in speech therapy now than there have ever been, and it's because of the tablets. Because back in the day, and you know this, Regina, if they said cup, they said car, you say no, say car. If they say star, then you say no, say straw, say straw, and you don't give the straw to them until they say straw. If they say ba, you say bowl, say orange. That's not happening now. So now they can't speak, they can't read, and their attention span is that of a fruit gnat. It's just quick. And I'm just saying, stay healthy, because it's getting worse. And because the parents can't spell, can't read, and can't think, I don't know what's going to happen to us. I just hope I die of natural causes. It's quick, they just go on, because it's terrible. So the point that I'm making is, in all of this, is that now that I'm interacting with people on social media more, because I don't have to do it in my personal life, I'm really seeing the deterioration of the brain. I'm watching the working memory atrophy to the point where your reading comprehension can't comprehend that I answered the question. So you change the question to match the answer that you were expecting to get from me. And then finally, I had someone ask a question, and I said my brain. And so this person decided, they said, well, which of the 5 brains are you using? Like, there's not 5 brains. At most, there's 4. But okay. So, because I'm feeling a little froggy this morning, I have sprung forward now. I'm back in my good form. I explained to the person, and I'll see what their response is later today. It took them a whole night to say something. So I talked about the 3 brains, the head, the heart, and the gut. And I talked about the ones that I'm using most are the head and the gut. And the gut sends 400 messages to the head, one-way messages to the head. And then I asked the simple question to see what response I will get. And so I finished the response with this. Where has your research led you with regards to the brain? Because where's your research at for the brain? Since you brought it up, you said 5 brains. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing with my research, what you're doing with yours. And the person could actually be researching. If they are, I will come back tomorrow and tell y'all what the research is that they're working on. Because I will learn from Caillou. I have a problem. You got more information than me on something I need, give it to me so I can apply it and give it back to the world. But yeah, which of the 5 brains are you using? Okay, well, I'm using the 3. Head, heart, and gut. We know that's at the beginning of my book. So it's interesting interacting with unaccountable people when they're asking the question. It's also interesting because they don't understand who I am, because I think I got like 600 followers on there. So who would be answering the questions if not a layperson? And so they will correct me. So one person tried to come back. They asked me what am I doing in my life or something. And I said, grow continually. And they came back and said, so be consistent daily. And it didn't have a punctuation at the end. So I asked them, is that a question or a statement? And they liked it and never told me if it was a question or a statement. So sentences, I don't know if they're statements. I don't know if they're question marks telling me, well, is this what you mean? I'm like, I said what I meant. So it's interesting. So this is a new part of my research to see where people's cognition actually is when they ask a question. Because remember, when you ask a question and a person answers it, they get their own serotonin and dopamine boost by answering the question. And then you, as the person who asked the question, is in theory receiving your answer. And so your reward, you get a natural dopamine boost because you got the answer to your question. It's supposed to be a neurological exchange of neurotransmitters and those three hormones, but that's not actually working. Serotonin and dopamine. Okay, Regina, you said it's happening with younger and younger people, raise short-term memory and comprehensions and not thinking critically. Learning punctuation is often overlooked in school and not taught directly. Yes, and I'm just saying, if it was a question, and trust me, I'm not, and I have the Strunk and White's Elements of Style and I've read it to be able to do it. And you have free intellectual freedom when you're speaking because it's technically conversational. But you could say, did you mean that? Or no, I meant that. I meant that. I meant that. So with the tonality, it can turn it into a statement. I meant that. Now it's an exclamation point. But if it's just out there, you kind of just like, I don't know if this is a question, an exclamation point. What am I supposed to do with this? And I'm working with Nola with that too, because she'll send me a text message or turn her stuff in. I'm like, ooh, I don't know where that paragraph ended, began. Is it a comma? Is it a period? So it's interesting that we're allowing technology to take over. And then people are like, and the technology is taking over. It's like, no, your ass just got dumber. It didn't take over. You just stopped thinking. You just stopped. Yes, and texting is really relaxed. And what I find myself doing when I'm making and informal, yes. When I'm making my content, I sign it Dr. Donna, and people have said, why is she signing it Dr. Donna? And because I'm writing, so it feels like a letter. It feels like an email for me. So sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't do it if it's necessary. But if it's really long and I'm making an explanation, I want them to know that it came from me, that I didn't copy and paste it. This didn't come from Chat GTP or whatever else it is that you can use to make content. Because now AI can write your content for you, your comments and everything for you. You don't have to do any of that. So part of it now is that I want them to know that's coming from me. So basically, in summary, is we have a group of lazy ass thermometer people who are taking less and less control of their minds, but want more and more control of the world. Yeah, that's dangerous. And not really wanting to have to do anything, but wanting to make it seem like the things that they're doing are actually grandiose. So it's almost like, and Virginia has said this before, I'm ahead of the curve, I'm ahead of the time. And Nola has said it too. So I'm like, are we going to meet and do this? Am I going to get there ahead of time? Are they going to get there and have to turn around and be like, we need help. What is this? So for me, I'm like, why is it so difficult, Lord? Just why can't people just want to hold themselves personally accountable, use their brain? Just why? Okay, cool, got it. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. I get it. But wow, it's really showing me where people are, because my operation brain, and Kevin, you know this from working in corporate America, is today. What's the numbers today? Did we get the orders out? Did we do? We're looking at plan, looking at this, and quarter 2, and quarter 3. And so my operation brain is like, this needs to be faster. But as Nola says, it was thousands and thousands of people who were supposed to do some of this work to get people to start being more accountable, and they didn't. So you have to go back to be a researcher and not a person that's doing something that's already here. So I have to tell myself that, because my operation brain wants it to be faster, or at least start the process. But we are not there yet, and being on Threads shows me how far away the actual populace is from daily personal accountability. So it's not 2025. I tell you that much. Definitely not at all. Okay, does anybody else have anything else for me before we get out of here? I do value and appreciate you taking the time to use your mind so that you can change and update the communities where you reside, so we can get neuropability to more people, and we can actually have people high functioning, reading comprehension, Effectively communicating, that's one of the other things. It was not effective communication at all, because again, and it's definitely, I really believe that that's definitely one of the major issues in the world today, is the inability to communicate effectively. It is a problem. Next to hijacked amygdala, it's probably third on the list. So being unaccountable, hijacked amygdala, and ineffective communication is why we are at odds with the adult population globally. Go ahead and make that a highlight. Yes, reading out loud is a lot different than reading silent. I would agree with that. Even for me, even if me reading my book. And part of the problem for me is my brain moves so fast that when I'm reading silently, I can get through it. But to have to get it, process it through my brain, I'm already 5 words ahead. And I'm like, you got to slow down because you need to say these words. Okay. You can't just be. So the double dutches and all of that definitely have an impact day to day. Okay, so to go back to the front of the live where I mentioned my assaults and all of that, I'm good. Okay, nope, everybody's still breathing and living. I did contemplate taking a couple people out at certain points in my life. I did not enter into those. I didn't do it. As I tell people, you lucky I know Jesus. That's why you still breathing. Because if I was Didi from the D, there would be no more of D. At all. And I understand those things happen to make me human, and unaccountable people are there. Jesus had to come down here and experience things. Everybody has to experience things. But what I won't do is let the shame of those things happen. And I will not allow unaccountable people to victimize the victim. What you had on, well, what was you doing? Well, why you ain't say something sooner and all that bullshit. No, y'all made up that narrative. There are unaccountable, perverted people messing with other people, children, adults, and everybody else. And it is not acceptable. Is 100% not acceptable. So the biggest one, again, was my stepfather. I spoke up about the other ones, but that one, because my mother is still married to this pervert and has chosen him over me, I say it so that it is out there, and it continues to be out there, because I was made to keep this secret so that, you die with the lie, but I'm not doing that shit. So it's almost as if I am releasing it and continuously saying it. I now can say it, and I'm not like, oh my God, this is because it used to be extremely painful for me to have my mother choose this man over me. But those are her choices, and that's what people do. And they have to live with those decisions that they make. But I'm not about to be walking around like we are a whole perfect family. And so if you're wondering, well, how did I do that? Basically, she asked me to. That's not a take one for the team, but it's like, yeah, this is bad. So addicts can be very persuasive, and they can be very manipulative. And especially when you want your second marriage to work because your first marriage didn't, then you will make decisions. I've attempted to have honest conversations with her about why she stayed. She can't answer that question. She keeps blaming me, telling me I should have gotten help and all of that. And I told her I was all right. None of that ever occurred. But the lies that you tell yourself in order to stay in situations so that you can have this stuckmally and this fake ass family seem like it's actually real. So I say the story so that it can free somebody else to do the same thing. Do not let shame be a weapon used against you. And we say it in Al-Anon, you are as sick as your secrets. And don't let their secrets be your secrets. I'm not keeping your fucking secrets no more. Absolutely not. I will tell it. And if I ever allow somebody to interview me and they ask me, I'm going to say exactly what happened. And that's part of the reason why I got divorced, because when I told my ex-husband what took place, he blamed me too. He cheated and blamed me and spent my money. I don't believe you. So nothing ain't happened. I don't believe you. Why you ain't tell nobody? Why you ain't said this? I met this man in church. He literally blamed me. Okay. Roger that. Got it. So everybody moved on and did their whole things. And yeah, so that's the whole story in a nutshell. I'm always keep it buck. I'm always be transparent, because I'm not about to be dying with nobody else's lies. Not about to make it seem like, oh, everything is berries and cherries over here. Not at all. That's not what took place. Life for me has not been a crystal stairway, but I'm still here. I'm vertical. I have a very optimistic view. I still believe in helping people. I still believe in a higher power, that everything does happen for a reason. That which does not kill you makes you stronger. But I'm not about to let no new pervert show up and not be held accountable. I can't be held accountable. Motherfucker, try that again. I might be doing some time. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Yeah, that might. Y'all don't like that laugh because that's that. Anyway, so yeah, that's that. And that's how those stories went. Thank you very much for being listeners, and let this be freeing. If you're watching on the replay and you need to get rid of some shame, go ahead and literally confront the person and do what you need to do and stand up to all of those people, because you don't want to take that to your grave still feeling like a victim. I'm not a victim. I handled that situation on May 5th, 2022. I call it Cinco de Slapo, and I'll leave it at that. And yeah, that situation has been, if you watch the great debaters at the end, they said resolved. So it definitely has been resolved. Yeah, you all go off and have a great rest of your day. It is Friday now that I looked at the calendar, because I did think it was Saturday. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. Be prepared tomorrow to tell me all of the things that you did to ensure that you maintain the temperature that you're about to set as soon as you get off this live. Thank you so much. I will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, same face, different t-shirt. Take care. Adios.